I'm back. It's Thursday, May 25th. Ready for another go. Playing 2-3, in for 300. Time to get the cards in the air. This is the very first hand I played. I pick up ace-queen offsuit in the cutoff with the button straddle on. The way the button straddle works at this casino is that the action starts off with the under the gun player going first. Then once it gets to the button, it passes over directly to the blinds, and then back to the dealer position. Basically, the button is just like the under the gun straddle, acting last, with everything else being played as normal. I see a limp from middle position, then a smallish isolation raise to 25 from the player next to act. 25 is pretty small in this circumstance, with one limper and the button already being in for 6. This seems to me like a raise, mostly not wanting anyone else to raise behind, so I decide on 3-betting to 75. Being in position with a decent hand that I rather play heads up or just take down pre-flop, raising seems like a better option than calling and going to a very multi-way flop. Things don't go according to plan, however, with the button cold calling once the blinds fold and the other two players getting out of the way. Now I'm a little worried. I only saw one hand played at this table so far, but the same player called a raise from the button when he was in the big blind with pocket queens. A small sample of just one isn't the most reliable, to say the least, but it for sure signals to me that this player likes slow playing. He could of course just like calling with any hand, but I'm going to proceed very cautiously, putting him on a strong range of mostly pocket pairs, because I think ace-king would go all in, and worse aces like my hand of ace-queen would either go all in or fold since there'd be only about a pot-sized bet left. He could also be trapping with a premium hand of aces or kings slow playing. This was at least my read of the table. It could easily be way off. The flop's jack 4-4 with 2 diamonds, with me not having a diamond in my hand. The bottom of the range I'm putting villain on, like pocket 9s or 10s, would not fold if I bet here, or against a 2-barrel all-in, at least I don't think. So I decide to check, intending to give up to a bet, but villain checks back, and an 8 comes on the turn. I still think I'm behind, and won't get any folds if I bet, so I check, and villain quickly checks back again. At this point, I'm pretty sure villain does indeed have something that wants to get to a showdown, but will also call a river bet. A 3 of diamonds comes on the river, bringing in the flush. I check. Then villain puts out a tiny bet of just $60. I don't think I beat anything here though, so I fold, thinking he's trying to get thin value with a pair, hoping I call with something like ace-king, but the villain frustratingly shakes his head and shows the ace of diamonds. He could have had a flush, a super slow played pocket aces, even ace-jack, all beating me. Good fold. Hard to imagine he called with something as weak as ace-10 offsuit, then turned it into a bluff on the river. I top off, adding another 100 to my stack. Could have easily been worse though if I decided on bluffing and punted off my entire stack. This next hand was still during my first orbit at the table. I raised with pocket 10s to 20 after what I feel is a weak, loose, passive player limps from under the gun. A short stack in late position ends up going all in for $95. And everyone folds and the action's back on me. Easy call, getting better than 1.5 to 1 on a call. Even if villain never bluffs and only shoves a tight range of 9s plus ace-queen plus, 10s is comfortably getting the right price. Very straightforward spot. Just wanted to show you the bigger pots I was involved in during the session. I flop top set, so I just flip over my hand, not wanting to slow roll anyone. The villain then stands up and shakes his head, indicating to me that he just got really unlucky with an overpair and is already planning on leaving the table. I don't remember what the last 2 cards exactly were, but I know they were both hearts because villain shows pocket 7s with a heart, so I lose to a flush. I'm not sure why he was acting like he just got so unlucky on the flop, like he had a higher pocket pair than me, but he wins. Time to add on another 100, both times within the first 10 minutes. Not any big or interesting hands to report for a while, until I make a raise to 15 after that same weak player limps in, this time with an even shorter stack. I get a call from the big blind and the limper, playing in position for the rest of the hand. One overcard comes on the flop with a king, with also a jack and 2 hearts. Both players check. I think I can go either way between betting and checking. I could get value from jacks and draws, but any king has me crushed. I decided on checking back for some pot control, but betting for sure has merit. I have blockers to king-queen, making top pair with a king a lot less likely. Against the short stack, I also wouldn't mind getting it all in with, and pot controlling doesn't really matter. Those factors make me believe this is a slightly better spot to bet, but as played, a bad turn comes in the 8 of hearts, and I have no heart.
Why I make this move? I have Jack of Hearts, this big card, Jack of Hearts, you see big heart. Heart comes on the turn.
Do you think that you don't have the best hand?
I think I maybe.
The big blind then leads out, and I have a decision to make once the short stack folds. I don't have nearly enough information to put villain on any narrowed down range of hands, but basically guessing, I think he would lead out here with mostly kings, flushes, or something like the ace of hearts. I don't do that well against the range that would bet, and even if he is drawing, he could hit a heart on the river, or bluff me out of the pot if I don't intend on calling a river bet. So I decide on arguably a tight fold. Not sure if it's too tight to lay down pocket queens there. Let me hear down below how well you think I played this hand. Another pocket pair in 7s finds me in the small blind. The action before me is a limp, and then a raise to 15 from the cutoff. I think calling is the best play, expecting to go to a 4-way flop most of the time, so I decide on just that. Then a new player that just recently sat down goes all in. The other 2 players fold, and the action is now on me. At the table, I was counting the size of the pot, and determined I was getting about 1.5 to 1 on a call, which makes this almost the exact situation as earlier in the pocket 10s hand. Meaning I would again need at least 40% equity to make this a profitable call. I don't think pocket 7s would have that equity against her range. If she shoved the same general tight range of 9s plus and ace queens plus, I would have 9% less equity than in the 10s hand. So I decided on a fold. I have personally noticed that most players, especially lower buy-in players, are really content with just calling and seeing flops, that when they do push all in, it's safe to assume they have a strong range. Against a slightly wider range of pocket 7s plus, ace jack plus, which I think is too wide of a range anyway to put villain on, it is still 2 percentage points shy of getting the correct odds on a call. If you put villain on any wider range than this, pocket 7s turns into a call, but not many players, especially at this limit, would push with a worse hand than that. After that hand, my stack continued to dwindle from the blinds, raising or calling a multi-way pots, and not hitting the flop. So I add on another 100, I'm now in for 600, and hopefully the third time's the charm. Pick up a premium in pocket kings under the gun, playing 7-handed, put in a standard raise to 15, and everyone folds. It was just that kind of night for me. Sorry for the lack of excitement, but that was the end of my 4-hour session. I played one more round where I folded every hand, so nothing to report. I cashed out for $247. I was in for $600, so that's a loss of $353. This is now back-to-back really boring episodes, but I played another session on Saturday that was anything but boring. Numerous big hands, pretty interesting, a lot of action. So check out that episode, coming next.